Hello, good afternoon. Today's topic of discussion is remedy for breach of contract. So let's discuss where there is a right, there is a remedy. Right accruing to a party under a contract would be of no value if there were no remedy to enforce that right in a court of law in the event of its infringement or breach of contract. So, the remedy is the means given by law for the enforcement of a right. So, whenever there is a breach of contract, the infringed or aggrieved party will have remedies. So, in simple words, breach of contract means non observance of a contractual obligation or promise or failure to perform the contract, and remedy means a relief or redressal for the loss or damage suffered by the other party. A contract can be said to be breached or broken when either of the parties fails or refuse to perform his obligation under the contract or his promise under the contract. So therefore it can be said that when a binding agreement is not honored by one or more parties by the non-performance of his promise, the agreement can be said to be breached. The parties to a contract are expected to carry out their respective promises, or they are expected to carry out their obligation under the contract. And when one of the parties to the contract refuses or fails to carry out his part of the promise, he is said to have breached the contract. When a promise or agreement is broken by any of the parties, it is a breach of contract. In other words, when either of the parties does not keep their promise of the agreement or does not fulfill their obligation as per the terms of the contract, it is a breach of contract. And a party, that is a group party, whose contract has been broken by the other party has certain remedies against the party breaking the contract. In other words, when breach occurs, the aggrieved party or the injured party becomes entitled to the following reliefs or remedies against the guilty partner, and these remedies are as follows. Number 1, rescission of the contract. Number 2, suit for damages. And number 3, suit upon quantum merit. So these three remedies are governed, first three remedies are governed by law of contract. Number 4, suit for specific performance and suit for injunction. So these are governed by the Specific Relief Act 1963, means suit for specific performance and suit for injunctions are governed by Specific Relief Act. So let's discuss the first remedy, rescission of the contract. Rescission means termination or cancellation of the terms of the contract. It means revocation or setting aside of a contract. Setting aside means radda karne. When one of the parties to a contract breaks the contract, the other party may sue and refuse further performance. For example number 1, A promises B to supply 5 bags of rice on a certain day. B agrees to pay the price after the receipt of the goods. A does not supply the goods, so here B is discharged from liability to pay the price. Another example, suppose X contracts to supply 20 tables to Y for rupees 1000 on 7th June, and Y also agrees to pay the price quoted by X after receiving the tables. If X does not supply the tables as per the contract, Y is discharged from the liability and is entitled to compensate for damages if any. So as per section 75, it clearly states that a person who rightfully resigns a contract is entitled to get compensation for any damage that he has sustained to the non-fulfillment of the contract. So let's discuss the consequences of rescission. In case of rescission, the injured party has right to receive compensation for its breach. He is absolved from all his obligation under contract and need not perform any promise. Second, when a contract is rescinded, any person who has received any advantage under such contract is bound to restore it or to make compensation for it to the party from whom he received it. For example, A pay B rupees 1000 in consideration of B promising to marry C, A's daughter. C is dead at the time of promise. So the agreement is void, but B must repay A rupees 1000. Second example, a singer contracts with B, the manager of a theatre, to sing at his theatre for 2 nights in every week during the next 2 months, and B engages to pay her rupees 100 for each night's performance. On the sixth night, A willfully absents herself from the theatre, and B in consequences resigns the contract. So B is entitled to claim compensation for damages which he has sustained or suffered through the non-fulfillment of the contract. Second remedy is suit for damages. The term damage is different from the term damages. Damage means injury म्हणजे हानी किंवा loss, and damages means monetary compensation म्हणजे पैशाच्या स्वरूपात for the loss suffered by the aggrieved party in a breach of contract. Damages means monetary compensation payable by the defaulting party to the aggrieved or injured party for the loss suffered by the aggrieved party as a result of breach of contract. The aggrieved or injured party may bring an action for damages. So damages is most common and usual remedy provided by the Contract Act for breach of contract. In other words, damages are monetary compensation which is allowed to the injured party by the court for the loss or injury suffered by him by the breach of a contract. So there are different types of damages that we are going to discuss. When a party to a contract does not perform his part of contract, the other party suffering any loss by breach is entitled to recover from him some damages for the breach of contract. So the object of providing damages to the aggrieved party is to put him or to place him in the same position so far as the monetary aspect is concerned in which he would have been if the contract would have been performed. So to place him in the same position if the contract would have been performed. So the important types of damages are as follows: ordinary or general damages, second special damages, third is nominal damages, and the fourth one is vindictive damages. So damages we are going to discuss in separate video. Third remedy is suit for quantum merit. So this is a Latin term. The word quantum merit means what one has earned, and in context of contract law, it means reasonable value of services. The meaning of quantum merit is as much as merited or earned. Suing on quantum merit is the suing for the value of so much as is done. It is another remedy available for an aggrieved or injured party for breach of contract. So, in this, a right to sue on quantum merit arises when a contract partially performed by one of the parties and has become discharged by the breach of contract by the other party. A right to sue arises where, after performance by one party and then there is a breach of contract or the contract is discovered to be void or becomes void, the injured party can sue for quantum merit. That is, if the injured party has done a part of what he was bound to do under the contract, and if what the injured party has done can be estimated at a money value, the injured party can sue for quantum merit. That is, for the value of so much as he has already done. Thus, a places an order with B for the supply of 100 chairs to be delivered by installments. B delivers 20 chairs. When when informs him that he will require no more after 20 chairs. So in this case, A's repudiation discharges B from the obligation to supply the remaining chairs. He can sue A for the breach of contract or for the value of 20 chairs already supplied. However, this concept applies in the following situation. Number one, when a person hires other person for doing his work and the contract is either not completed or left unperformed, then that person or the that person who is performing the work has the right to sue for the services which he has rendered to the person who has hired him. The law states that there is a promise by the employer to his workman that he would be paid as much as he deserves for the services which he renders to him. The expression often used The expression quantum merit often used where the plaintiffs claim reasonable remuneration for the services rendered by him when there is no enforceable contract or express promise as to the amount of the remuneration. So, where a party has, in the performance of his contract, done some work or rendered some services, and further performance has been made unless by the other party, he may recover reasonable compensation for the work or he service. This is known as doctrine of quantum merit. Quantum merit claim arises where work is done or services performed by one person for another in circumstances which entitle the person doing the work for performing the services to receive a reasonable remuneration. Remuneration म्हणजे मोबदला. Therefore, the right to claim quantum merit does not arise out of a contract as the right to damages does. It is a claim with quasi-contractual obligation which the law implies in the circumstances. where the price of work is not fixed. Reasonable compensation, therefore, quantum merit, that is, quantum merit can be awarded. If the term in the contract fixes the price of the work, quantum merit is excluded. So, this must be noted that where the price of the work is not fixed, reasonable compensation, therefore, that is quantum merit can be awarded. So this is very important. So whenever there is, when the price is not fixed for the work, then the quantum merit is awarded. For example, P was appointed managing director of a company. The appointment was made by the other directors who were disqualified by the reason of having not taken their qualification shares. P also did not take his qualification shares, but he continued to act as managing director and sued the company for his agreed remuneration and for a reasonable remuneration on the basis of quantum merit. Held, P was entitled to recover on the basis of quantum merit because he has rendered services to the company, and therefore as a managing director, and therefore he should be awarded quantum merit. Another example, P agreed to supply 100 mounds of rice, mounds म्हणजे mud, at the rate of rupees 30 per mounds to be deliveries to be made into equal installments. P supplies only 50 mounts but fails to supply the second installment. B may pay for 50 mounts. Fourth remedy is suit for specific performance. Specific performance means compelling a party to perform his promise in specie or to perform promise as per the agreed term. Specific performance is one by which the court directs the defendant to perform the contract in accordance with the terms mentioned in the contract. So, or in accordance with the agreed terms of the contract. In other words, specific performance means actually carrying out of the terms mentioned in the contract. Under specific conditions, the party can file a suit for specific performance. A decree for specific performance is granted only where the legal remedy is inadequate or defective. That is, in situations where it is just and equitable to do so, then and then only specific performance may be granted by the court of law. Under very special circumstances, an injured person can obtain a decree of specific performance when there are alternative remedies are available. In that case, specific performance may not be granted. In other words, it can be said that specific performance will not be granted where provided adequate relief. That means where there is an alternative or adequate relief is available. In that case, court will ask the party to avail that alternative remedy instead of a specific performance. So it is a discretionary remedy as it does not follow that specific performance will definitely be granted because damages are not to be considered as adequate compensation in some cases. Moreover, whether or not to entertain the claim of specific performance, the court will have to take into account whether mutuality exists between the parties. This means if one party performs its obligation and other party's obligation remains unperformed, it would be unfair that former party be left to remedy if the latter party failed to perform any of its unperformed obligation. The courts have been taking a very flexible and liberal approach towards availability of the specific performance. Next and last remedy is injunction. An injunction is an order given by the court asking a person to do or to abstain or restrain from doing a particular act or abstain from doing some act which has been the subject matter of the contract. It is preventive relief or remedy. It is applicable in case of anticipatory breach of contract in which damages would not be an adequate relief. For example, is X is a renowned teacher who agreed who agreed to teach exclusively for Y for a period of 2 years and no one else. During that period of 2 years, if X contracts to teach to any other person, X can be restrained or restrict by injunction from doing so. So injunction may be either prohibitory or mandatory. A prohibitory or restrictive injunction is granted to restrain the breach of negative contract or stipulation. A contract where a promisor agrees not to do something. An injunction is said to be prohibitory when its object is to restrain, that is to restrict a party from doing an act and is usually of a negative character. For example, not to carry on certain trade or not to build on land, etc. Another type, mandatory injunction, includes positive performance of an act or used to restore the situation as it was prior to the breach of contract. An injunction is said to be mandatory if the party is compelled to do an act. For example, to put back the tenant wrongfully evicted by the landlord. So this is the example of mandatory injunction. So to conclude here, when breach of contract happens, the party look for its remedy. And these are the different, so above are the different kinds of remedies for breach of contract. That is rescission of contract, suit for damage, suit upon quantum merit, suit for specific performance of contract, and suit for injunction. So all these remedies all these are important remedies dealing with the breach of contract. So with this I have completed remedies for breach of contract. So sources for this are as follows. Thank you.